TV trash. You know, I've been getting a lot of requests to review what people like to call ghetto shows.
The 2000s were largely defined over
George Bush not caring about black people.
Mr. President, you are underestimating his power. So it was up to the white man and Filipinos to revive the blaxploitation genre, one of which was Jim Jenkins, a name you might not know, but you probably recognize at least one of the shows from if you're the right age when he was active most. Jenkins was the head of now 2 defunct animation studios, Jumbo Pictures from 1990 to 2000 and Cartoon Pizza from 2001 to 2015. And I bring these studios up because he did help in one way or another on a majority of the things the studio put out, and most notably was the creator of Doug, which, like it or not, Nostalgia Critic certainly doesn't, it is one of the most important shows in Nickelodeon's history. And by the way, I am legitimately confident the only reason this show has a divisive reputation online is that Nostalgia Critic didn't like it in 2011. Because that's a credible source for film scholars. Motherfucker tricked me into thinking 8 Crazy Nights was one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh my god, George Bush is starting this thing off!
Douglas, he doesn't care about black people!
So let's check out the top 5 worst African cartoons.
Oh no, not you too! Like, all this motherfucker did was have the same name as Nostalgia Critic, and he was cool as fuck, and y'all hated him. Why does Doug Walker hate Doug so much? Is he emo? And why is it important to Nickelodeon's history? Because it premiered alongside the Ren and Stimpy show and Rugrats in 1991, cementing Nickelodeon as an animation giant, a new era with the rise of Nicktoons. Are these 3 shows the company's Mount Rushmore? No, not even the big 3, but they are absolutely the founding fathers. Without Doug's help, there quite possibly would be no SpongeBob SquarePants, at least on Nickelodeon. And although the character later moved to Disney, Doug is still closely associated with the classic 90s Nickelodeon. Not my generation of Nickelodeon, that's for goddamn sure.
Patrick dance, do the Patrick dance, do the Patrick dance.
Okay, another reason for its rather divisive reputation might be that the Disney years is often disliked by fans. If you've only seen Disney's Doug, it might have actually left a bad taste in your mouth for the show in general. Look, I've never binged either, I don't have an opinion there, but without getting into all the conflict that led to the shutdown of the 2 animation studios, Jenkins has a ton of creator credits, whether it be primary, secondary, or tertiary. Creator nonetheless credits beyond Doug, which includes Allegra's Window, PB&J Otter, JoJo's Circus, Stanley, and Pinky Dinky Doo. Such a shame that JoJo got gloomed and died from exposure 3 days later. Oh, get down! Pinky Dinky Doo was an alright watch for me back in the day. It's the only show of his I can actually say I'm nostalgic for. Coincidentally enough, the pilot actually got found recently. Yeah, we got the Pinky Dinky Doo pilot before GTA 6.
A pretty pink pet pony. Well, I like ponies.
Oh, girl, put your pants on. The 23-year-old users are gonna get a little carried away, don't you think?
I'm so glad you guys are invited. This is even better than the time I grounded little brown bear.
Don't call your mom horrible again. You're grounded for a month. Go to your room.
One of the characters' names is P. Diddy Pony.
The star of this year's show was P. Pitty Pony. P. Pitty was a famous singing and dancing pony who came
sorry, P. Pitty Pony. Got mixed up there. Whoops. Oh no, wait, he's a rapper, evident by his bling and brown fur. This show has a parody of Diddy and panty shots. No, Pinky, watch out, he's gonna give you a record deal. Pinky, no, he's gonna want to see your pink. Pinky, stop caring about black horses.
What, President Garfield? Please,
Nah, you said that fat bastard after me. Death penalty.
But possibly the most obscure show Jenkins ever created, because it never aired on TV, was Hoop Dogz.
Say, look at this. I've been cleaning out my nest, and I found an old book of my poetry.
Nothing you can say, ain't nothing you can do. We be balling you, we be balling you.
Okay, well, Hoop Dogz didn't air on TV, it was direct-to-video, and you might ask, well, why? He's a TV guy. Well, it's because it has a religious bias, so it ain't going to the mainstream consumers, not helped by George Bush not caring about black people and ironically blacklisting black shows.
What the f*** I'm white? You're welcome.
Now, for a title like Hoop Dogz with a Z, you'd expect it to be a bad
ghetto show.
Like the Nut Shack or the Slim Shady Show or the Trap House animated series.
Down there, man, what in the fuck you doing, old goat mouth ass nigga?
The nay-nay, nigga. Why? Cause the trap made 30 stacks today, nigga.
Or El Hugoney's failed test pilot duology Green Money Weed Connection.
He gives me his Oreos and I start eating. Got milk, nigga? You got some fucking milk?
Or the Friday animated series that didn't even have Ice Cube or Chris Tucker. Okay, first they couldn't even get Chris Tucker back for the second and third movie, and then they make a show without the two main guys? What's even the fucking point? No wonder it bombed. And with its title, you'd be correct in its assumption of being urban, but I'd like to call it more ghetto adjacent. It's a Wigger show. Also a religious Wigger show. Because when I think American media with canonically low-class settings, I think white people. So it's a black show made by a white guy, but not an epic one like the Cleveland show, and it's also Christian. But if you're making a show about a kind of neighborhood and you're not from inside the neighborhood, it's gonna be pretty obvious. Which wasn't insensitive of Jenkins, but he had no knowledge of the stories he was trying to tell. I mean, like, I guess they play basketball and they got that dog in them, and dog is spelled incorrectly. Sheet, I don't think it gets any more hood than that.
It's a slam dunk.
How about you slam some lasagna into the oven and then dunk some crack on it, you fat fucking mutt?
Hoop Dogz was advertised as a comedy series for families inspired by the 10 Commandments. So I guess they wanted to make one commandment per episode. You can fill in the blanks about the plans.
Hell no. I don't want to learn about the Bible from some fucking poodle.
But it only had 4 episodes, probably because it sold abysmally. It was also CG because VeggieTales, let's be real. You were on thin ice for VeggieTales ripoffs too, Hoop Dogz, damn it. However, it was originally supposed to be in 2D like the majority of the Jenkins catalog. At the end of the first episode, we do get to see 2D animation during a conclusive Bible story detailing how Moses received the 10 Commandments, with a much more Doug-adjacent art style, which is a much better look. It's not the most unique thing, but it's the thing they've mastered the most. You can tell this came out like 20 years before it became standard for adapting 2D characters into 3D by limiting their dimensions despite CG graphics. Like Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish or the Peanuts movie where, yeah, it's 3D obviously, but the characters' perspectives never go beyond 2D. This recent trend is an example of working smarter and not harder, and Hoop Dogz does not work smarter. If you don't, it'll look like shit. That's why the Drake Bell live-action Fairly Odd Parents CGI looks like complete shit because they weren't cautious about the dimensions.
Yo, man, it's gonna be so cool, man. We're gonna be bumping, man, trying to help the boys out. You know how we do it. You feel me, dog?
Ghetto show.
And the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours, as much as that hurts to say. And I really do wish there were more diverse dog designs. You know, you can make a character out of every dog breed if you really wanted to. That could not only allow encouraging diversity, even if it doesn't star humans, but just be more visually interesting. Oh, hold up, I think it's a segregated dog neighborhood. There is a mutt basketball league and a purebred basketball league. There's some breed variation, but they're mostly just like Dachshunds and Bull Terriers and Pugs and like one sheepdog. Not enough of the puppy dog spectrum is represented here. Like, look at the epic dance party scene from the end of the live-action Marmaduke. There's so many different dogs. Look at them. They're doing the whip and the nay-nay. Oh, and hitting the quan, too. If you told me this was animated in Little Big Planet, I'd probably believe you.
Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Hey, what up, girl?
So you guessed it, tons of awkward angles the characters were never designed for. As for the subject matter, it's worth noting that they didn't even go in commandment order. The first episode / special whatever, God good, idols bad, is based off the second commandment, thou shalt not make themselves an idol. The second, stealing's uncool, is based off the 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal. The third, God is number 1, is based off the first commandment, thou shalt not have other gods before me. And the fourth and final episode is so forgotten that it doesn't even have an IMDb page. And that's A Promise is a Promise, based off the 7th commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery. Wait, what do you mean, adultery? Isn't the show for 4-year-olds?
What does assassination mean?
Have you heard that word a lot today?
Yes.
Look, not that kid shows can't tackle serious issues, especially ones with social class awareness, you know, being more realistic for the neighborhood and whatnot, but does this look like it tackles serious issues? This isn't in Blame It on George videos, how could it possibly be dark? I'd really hate to see the episode about death considering it's executed by 50-year-old rich white dudes who think they're black.
Hear me on the radio, think I could not be blacker, but on my video you see I'm really a cracker.
Only sticking to 10 commandment morals specifically was also a huge creative disadvantage because it only provides 10 concepts. The Bible is a pretty long read last time I checked, and yeah, I know a lot of other biblical messages are kind of like subsidiaries of the 10 commandments, but still, it limits the specifics, and the specifics could give you more to do to be creative and preach. Now, like I said, it's a wigger show, so it's an old rich white dude's understanding of the hood. Contrary to Craig Barlett, the creator of Hey Arnold, a similar slice-of-life show, which, yeah, also had an urban setting and was made by a white guy, but it was sparing urban representation. He's the Eminem of Nickelodeon cartoonists. Yeah, he could probably get away with reciting the Nick or Treat commercials if he really wanted to.
That's how you should be answering your phone all morning if your postcard is in and you want to be one of 1,000 lucky winners. But don't just sit there waiting for your phone to ring. Keep watching for Halloween episodes of your favorite shows. It's a Nick or Treat Saturday.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast. You can tell nobody on the team gave a shit about basketball in the slightest. 8 Crazy Nights has better basketball representation. Fuck you, nostalgia critic, it's peak. Now, you figured the show stars dogs because kids like dogs and not because it's set in a doggy-dog world.
What the dog doing?
In Hoop Dogs means everything. Everything is dog-themed, just like how in the 80s Pac-Man show, everything is pack-themed.
What'll it be, Mac?
We'll have 2 Waka Waka burgers and a couple of packed colons.
I guess Jenkins was like, oh, these African Americans George Bush doesn't seem to care about very much. Love being like, where my dog? You my dog. But it doesn't mean real dog, but we made it real dog by putting dog slang in a dog world. Yeah, never mind that humans jokingly refer to loved ones as dogs, cause like dogs are mankind's best friend, King Frederick of Persia, aka a dead dude rip.
Hey, what's with your funny-looking friend?
Seriously, why are there so many people in this universe that don't realize Snoopy's a dog?
This dog universe does not lend itself well to utilizing human urban slang. Nobody in, like, Bluey is like, you my dog. None of the African Americans in the Cleveland show are like, what up my dog, to Brian, which might have actually been the fault of him dying. Rest in peace, Brian. Speaking of dogs, the main trio of the Hoop Dogs, the basketball team, if you will, consists of VJ, Trina, and Wiener. Thankfully, the friends weren't named BJ and Wiener. VJ is the swaggiest swag that ever got swagger. He thinks swag is an instrument. He also lives with his mom and his fat fuck little brother. And his grandpa, who is just Uncle Remus Dog Edition.
We were in slavery!
Yo, I'm a fucking homosexual.
What? You see, this show was actually pretty progressive. Look at the mom's haircut. For once, we have a show where the white parent is the one missing. Wiener has glasses and Trina is a girl. Thankfully, Wiener is not a girl because that would be woke. The lecture or plot of the first episode, teaching the 7th commandment, sees the Hoop Dogs worshipping a musician. Mad Doggy Dog, who's a really bad dude. You shouldn't listen to him. You should listen to the Doug theme song so I can have more money, my fellow African Americans.
Thou shalt not worship idols, but He hit both towers?
Mad Doggy Dog is like Bootsy Collins, except he talks like an old white dude's imagination of Snoop Doggy Dog, his original stage name. He's supposed to be like a portrayal of like the satanic panic 80s glam rockers, despite clearly being Bootsy Collins, a 70s P-funker. He also plays like G-Funk, like an 8-Dog, no relation to Snoop.
Dog, a chillin' dog, so bow wow down to Mad Doggy Dog. Yeah, feel the fire. Bow down, bow down.
So if you want to rap and be real cool, then think a cool cat and the rhymes will come to you. Some rappers talk about crime and violence, but the real OGs preach that peace is power.
Derek Savage? Hey, go back to the freaking Wonder Years, you piece of shit.
Like you realize there's like more than one genre of black music. Why'd you have to combine them all? Look, you could say I'm nitpicking, but I don't know. It kind of seems like Jenkins didn't study enough African Americans. So why is Bad Doggy Dog a bad influence? Because he doesn't look like he does on stage in real life in false iconography, I guess. Even though that's just makeup and costumes, what does that have to do with morality? Did he piss on his mom's bed? Why is he a bad dog? Is Elton John a bad person for wearing Nike off stage? According to this shit, yeah. Where are the scenes of him being a bad person according to the show's own logic? Like, yeah, obviously he doesn't look like that. I guess VJ was too distracted by his swagger. But oh no, the epic satanic concert on VJ's mama's birthday. Also, oh no, scheduling conflict involving celebrity worship. Kinda reminds me of a film that takes place less than a year after the September 11th terrorist attacks. Why couldn't they do something like have Trina, the girl, like idolize some like Disney Channel whore pop star who like has a ton of Photoshop and makeup in the magazines, you know, get her feeling really insecure but then learns that she doesn't actually look like that or something? Okay, but one thing you gotta give the show credit for is that this Christian show is actually willing to make fun of bad Christian shows, with a reoccurring duo of televangelist hosts in universe. Chad Dimple and Rebecca Rose Nestor Eve, the Krusty the Clowns of the universe. But narratively, they're kind of like Scudworth and Mr. B from Clone High, or Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus from you know what they're from.
Hey, where's Perry? Perry!
Good morning, Agent B. Dr. Doofenshmirtz has invented the upside-down gravity-nator, and you must stop it before it's too late. That's Agent P.
So their standard inclusions don't really come off as filler, even though the show is supposed to be about wiener dogs that dunk on suckers, am I right, Negroes? Hell, there's even a plot line where Chad and Rebecca are replaced by a shitty Bug Juice reboot of their show, and it actually does a good job of making fun of Bug Juice Christian shows where it just treats the kids like idiots, where, you know, they're being flashy with biblical buzzwords to not be disapproving from parents, but still get kids' attention. Even if the show isn't exceptional, the brief elements of satire aren't poorly incorporated. Hell, there's even a nightmare sequence where it turns into what you'd expect a show of this nature to be.
Well, since we can't play basketball, what do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Hey, I know. Let's go sin.
Yeah,
I like sin.
Did you hear that, Rebecca?
A trap I can say it at least didn't fall into. Although I have to say the show would be way more interesting if every scene was like this.
The black female Timmy Turner.
Reboot's bad isn't an original joke in the slightest, but you know, it's not something you'd expect from a religious preschool show nonetheless. Hell, in the first episode, Chad and Rebecca are teaching the immorality of celebrity worship while simultaneously glorifying themselves through comically expensive merchandise. So surprisingly, they were willing to have flawed Christians in universe, which, you know, is very rare for a religious show to portray everything multidimensionally. You know, everything's gotta be squeaky and perfect. Thankfully here, the team didn't jump to conclusions that kids are gonna think God is bad now because the stupid characters also believe in God. The actual hip-hop sound design and rapping from the voice actors is atrocious.
If it ain't yours, don't be taken, cause you don't wanna end up like old Aiken. They caught him, they rocked him, they put him on ice, cause if you do the crime, you got to pay the price.
So play the game straight right from the tip off. You don't need nothing that you gotta rip off. So wave your hands, throw them up in the zone. Just make sure that the hand that you wave is your own.
Does this even legally qualify as rhythm and poetry?
Remind you, cause I really don't want to find you disobeying what God said. So here's a statue of my head.
My beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's cause Jesus Christ is my...
You know, isn't rap kind of well known for like its cultish following fan bases? Whether it be producers or rappers, you know, when people are like underground legend, you know, they're usually referring to rappers and producers. Although that terminology can apply to any form of art, you know, it's just a funny word for cult figures. Like they couldn't just get some cult classic hip hop producer on the show. He's a cult figure, not a mainstream. He can't be that expensive. It's so fake, it's so pasty. I don't think there's a single thing that highlights that it was made by old white dudes better.
Selfies, skinny jeans, LOL.
Yeah, they might add the peripherals to be hippin' and hoppin' and bippin' and boppin', but I don't think they knew how to use these sounds pleasantly in compositions. The Nut Shack had an awful Dr. Dre inspired soundtrack, but at least it was actual hip-hop.
Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady, and look at Kim Shady, she just got degraded by some bird shit. Yes, bird shit, she ate it with her lips.
There's also gospel music included, so the genre variety is commendable, but I don't know why they just didn't combine the two genres like Kirk Franklin and the Family. What's wrong with a preacher flowing? I thought this was a
ghetto show.
I'm David. I'm Jim. All of us at Cartoon Pizza would like to say welcome. Jim! Sorry. We know you have a choice in what you watch on your TV, so thank you for choosing Hoop Dogs.
In the last two episodes, there were like these prologues and other interstitial bits with the creators presented adjacent to Jib Jab. It feels like they just saw what was popular on the internet because this also came out in the prime of Jib Jab.
I'm an intellectual, you're a stupid dumbass. I'm a Purple Heart winner, and yes, it's true, I won it thrice.
And not long after Angela Anaconda, undeniably the worst utilizer of this trend of the era, okay, second worst. And much like Angela Anaconda, this would be an appropriate art direction for an MTV stoner comedy, but not a show for kids who can't wipe their ass. And what kid is gonna be like, oh shit, it's Jim Jenkins and David Campbell from Jumbo Pictures and Cartoon Pizza! You know how famous of a cartoonist you have to be for kids to care about the creator and not just the characters? The girls in my first grade class were obsessed with Hannah Montana, not the creators of the property, Michael Poirier's Rich Corhell and Barry O'Brien. And by the way, I thought this was supposed to be a
ghetto show.
If you're gonna have like an introductory narrator, surely it would be a person of color. Like that's clearly who you're targeting. Shouldn't you use a part of the target demographic to introduce the show since you're not a part of it? Coca-Cola got LeBron James for the Sprite Cranberry commercial because it's a brand that targets a certain race of people. Not that it's like racially insensitive for him to be in this role, but kids don't know who you are and you're not from any hood. It's not a racial issue, it's an irrelevance issue.
Love thy neighbor. Nah, fool, those little piggies might be taping. Fuck those police punk. Can you believe they put Squidward in the slammer after the security system took control of his house, even though SpongeBob and Patrick were in it the whole fucking time, and we're fucking responsible for everything? God, fuck this country.
It's so obvious that the show had no low-class experiences to retell in this animated universe despite trying to do something kinda unorthodox for a preschool cartoon. You know, we're far past the 70s where Sesame Street was like gunmetal gray and shit brown and puke green. And you know, everything's like green screen and plastic. You know, we could have brought back social class and cautiousness in real-world settings while educating. Completely wasted potential here. You know, it's a preschool show. I'm not saying there should be plot lines about VJ fighting some kid with Down syndrome in a dollar store, but still. Like, come on, man. You couldn't take a field trip to East Cleveland and scoop up some punk who can hardly spray paint and That would have made a better show. That would be worth risking getting shot over a street name you never heard of. But where are the hard times where the characters turn to God? Oh wait, there aren't any because the creator has never gotten a utility shut off in his entire life. Like, could you at least wear a jersey and not a Hawaiian shirt in your stupid ass jib jab segments? You look like you shop at Big Box Mart, not hustle on the street. Bro, just put juicy handbag from Burlington Coat Factory.jpg in the bottom corner. But if you think that's bad, check out this promotional piece for the studio utilizing the same format roughly.
Pepperoni pizza!
I'm sorry, sir. This isn't a real
Can
pizza
I finish?
We make cartoons
With bacon
here.
on it, not those little bacon bits or that Canadian stuff.
Sir.
Look, I wasn't alive for Angela Anaconda's premiere. I found out about the show when I was like 11, when it was kind of making a hate bandwagon resurgence in the mid-2010s. I was fucking disturbed. Speaking of dark, how do they handle the adultery amendment? Well, it's simplified to just betrayal, which, you know, can extend to betraying your honey in the bedroom.
Everything I'm about to do to you, baby, I learned at SeaWorld.
You learned at SeaWorld?
Yeah.
What the kind of line is that? You learned it at SeaWorld. Well, let me tell you something. I ain't no cheap asshole.
Trina starts playing for a basketball team that doesn't blow ass at every game like the Harlem Globetrotters. If only LeBron James didn't ditch the Cavs and crash the Cleveland economy. And yeah, it's not a bad simplification of the concept, but why simplify it? Like, why can't we have a divorce episode? It's trying to do something serious with an emphasis on an urban setting that it fails at, but it tries.
Oops Dog says, what would Jesus do? I say, what would Bush do after a jar of whiskey?
This is a weird show, not just in concept, but the actual quality. Like, you'd expect it to be complete fucking dog shit. It's not complete fucking dog shit, but its bad parts are just memorably bad, so you're gonna remember the bad, weird shit way more than the actual redeeming qualities, which it does have, but are kinda hard to acknowledge in comparison to yada yada yada.
I need a drink too. Definitely not with substances.
What's in this shit?
Want a Sprite cranberry?
Oh shit, it's Bill Cosby!
It's the thirsty.
We're so hard to defeat. We love just to compete.